Good morning, everybody. Shug here, and I am out here this morning in my back 40. It's getting to be about 7:30, and I am bringing my second cup of coffee out here. This is my Redbird dark roast espresso. Just wanted to come out here and put a little bit more time into this Majestic Hammock, which I used on the last trip I was on with Corey, and I'm still getting to know this hammock, so I've taken a few naps in it. But honestly, I've been pretty tied up doing my summer chores. I'm in the midst of the deck rebuild on the front, and a project I thought was going to maybe take 5 days, maybe a week, hopefully a weekend. Oh no, I'm 2.5 weeks in, because tearing out the old one, I had rotten wood in there. I didn't know what I was doing when I built that thing maybe 17 years ago, and I had a lot of treated lumber touching the ground, which of course rotted. So when I ripped it apart, I knew I had to dig up a lot of soil, man. I had to become a dirt farmer, and I had to do a lot of shoveling and running into roots and get that cleared up and make room for the boards and get everything so I could shim it up level and flat, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm waiting for my deck boards to be delivered, but I thought I would just come out this morning and just have a little chat with you. I was laying in bed and I was thinking about tarps, and I'm under my DIY Black Crow tarp right now. I've been using this tarp for years. 11-foot ridge line running right over me. It is about 7 feet across. I wanted a smaller tarp. I love this tarp. So I was thinking about tarps and what I like about tarps and what I love about tarps, and there's nothing I don't like about tarps. What we're going to talk about today is just tarps, just some thoughts. Privacy, a couple of different pitches, some things that people always ask me, how do I set up in the rain? And it's not raining, but I'll cover this again because I've talked about it a million times on videos, but what you do, and then just some of the versatility of having a tarp, and what a tarp can do for you. It's your shelter, and it doesn't take long to repitch it, reset it. So that's what I'm going to talk about. But after that long sentence, I need a little sip of coffee. I get this question every so often, is the matter of privacy when you're in a tarp. And yeah, you can be exposed, but a lot of people, it seems like most people, have wider tarps. Like this one is 7 feet wide. My Orbonnet Superfly is 10 feet across, this way from shoulder to shoulder, where my ridgeline is 11. And that gives you a little bit more wall space on your tarp. And if you bring that tarp down low and pitch it down kind of as close to your ridge line, as low as you could get it compared to your hammock pitch, how low or high your hammock is, you can only get your tarp down so far reasonably. You can get those sidewalls if you pitch it in a real steep A-frame shape like this, rather than how I have this tarp pitch right now, which is kind of more out like that, my favorite way. And if your tarp is really pitched in an A-frame like that, really straight down, the edge of your tarp is pretty close to the ground. For privacy, you could pitch it down like that, really steep, and close your doors off. If you're worried about privacy, absolutely get a tarp with doors on the end. And I realize sometimes with scout leaders or different people just have a different level of modesty. I'm alone a lot, but if I'm camping with someone else, I usually kind of know them, and if you're in doubt, just make an announcement. Just if you don't know the people, go, hey everybody, I'm getting ready to drop my trouser here and change a minute. I'm gonna be a little buck naked for about 30 seconds. It's up to you if you want to peep or not. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a lot of white meat, and old white meat. Just make that announcement, or step to the other side of your tarp and do it. But you do lose a little bit of privacy from a tent and a tarp, and that's something to think about, and that's something to consider if you're going to get into tarping. If you are modest, get yourself a bigger tarp. But if I'm camping with a lot of people and people I don't know, or if it's a big hang, and this is sort of the side looking out here, this is going to be how I get in and out of the tarp. I have it pitched up pretty high, so if I was laying here sleeping, there could just be people staring at me. So in those cases, what I might do is, if all the action's out that way, I might pitch this side down and go in and out of my tarp on the opposite side, where there's not a lot of traffic or people looking. Or if I'm camping in a place like on the Superior Hiking Trail where there's shared sites, or maybe the AT, and I just want a little I just don't want people staring at me when I sleep. I might bring the tarp down lower then. I might consider bringing a bigger tarp, but you can just think about your pitch and where you're going to put it. Even having your ends, you know, if your trees are toward where all the people are, that gives you just a little bit more privacy because you're in their hammock, so they're not looking at you from the side. So privacy wise, yeah, that's just something to consider. If you really like being sealed off and nobody looking at you and want to be able to just get in your little hidey hole here and there, get a bigger tarp. You know, get one with 10-foot sidewalls, and I think you can get custom built tarps as big or small as you want. So that's something I think about because it gets asked a lot, and a lot of times it's female scout leaders who are camping with a bunch of boys, and they want a little privacy. So just consider your privacy level. This is probably one of the things people ask about the most is, you know, what do I do when it's raining when you get to camp? In most cases, I keep my tarp in the pretty much inside the top of my pack, and I can whip my pack open real quick, get my tarp out, and set it up. And what I do on a rainy day is I set it up high because I'm going to be setting up my hammock and be working under it a little bit. So I got it kind of high so I'm not humped over. I'm not too stooped over a little bit. I don't have to keep hunching over to set everything up. I got head clearance and all that. So I get my hammock set up, kind of get a little area to stay dry. And then if it's really raining hard, then I can just bring that tarp down a little bit because it's just hooked to 2 trees and I can just lower it then or raise it. You know, maybe it's raining really hard and I do have to hunker down and be all kind of hunched over while I'm setting up and I'm in a tight pitch, and then the rain starts to break a little bit. I can raise my tarp up. Is normally what I like to do in the day is have my tarp a little higher or have it flip back over half of it, or what I call the quarter pitch or the quarterback pitch. So I take a corner of the tarp and pull it back, and I just run my line with my stake over the top of my tarp and just pin it back lightly on the opposite corner. And then I've got a whole corner back, and that just makes it easier for me to get back and forth to my hammock. And this is if there's no rain. And often leave it that way at night sometimes because you can see the sky, but you're set up. If you felt some rain on your face, you're going to feel it right there, or some mist. Get out, go grab that other stake, which is just laying over there, marlin spike to my line, pull it over, stick it in the ground, get back in the hammock. That is a beautiful thing. And also the other thing is with this tarp, it's small. I can set it up so I can pinch it off with doors. I designed it that way with these tabs right here. And I can do it. I usually just pitch off one end to the other to keep the wind out and have an end open. But what I love personally about tarps is I like seeing the world. I like to see where I am. You got to weigh your options a little bit. And I will sacrifice having maybe a little mist if it's foggy, or not being totally zipped in and enclosed, for the joy of just looking out at the woods I'm in. I really like this this Majestic Hammock, and I want to show it. I'm going to be showing this hammock in detail. I want to take it out on more trips, but I'd like to break it down for you. But Corey Sight, the owner, and he's a one-man operation for Majestic Hammocks, and he's redoing his website. It should be done soon. You can contact him, but I'm going to wait and show it once his website is fully open. It is a very comfortable hammock, but it's got some unusual features about it, and I'll cover those for you sometime. There. Oh, another thing. A lot of you ask about the Maple King and Hickory, and I'm going to tell you this. Him and I are going to be seeing each other pretty soon. We're getting together. Yes, we are. Like maybe next month. Pretty soon. I'm not going to say much more about it, because I just want to see the guy, and we'll probably get a little time in the woods. So, you know, with my retirement, I tend to not want to leave home a lot. It takes a lot to get me to leave it, because as a retired showbiz guy, showbiz people dream about being home. We just dream about being home when we're on the road. I do have quite a hankering to hit the woods, thinking, man, I cannot wait. I'm actually getting excited. It's been good to have this project because it's getting me excited about going backpacking. And of course, you know, just I don't want to go to another state or something. I just want to go where I live here in Minnesota. So I'm thinking the easiest would be just go up and do a few days on the Spear Hiking Trail. Maybe 3, maybe 4. No permits, just go up. I know the trail, just go hit an area and start. But it'll be a nice little reward for myself. But I have to be here and wait for this, you know, this ultra decking, the top of my deck. I got a truck delivering that tomorrow, so got to be here for that. And then I have to do a little squaring away with that. I still got a little thinking to do, but blah, blah, blah. You know, why am I telling you this? You don't really want to know all the particulars of my life, do you? You do? Okay. I'm slowly becoming a recluse as I get older. I always knew I wanted to be. You know, in school in the 5th grade, they go, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was going, I don't know. Maybe I'd like to start as a loner, then go to a recluse, and possibly work my way up into Hermitville. Woo, buddy. All secure in Sector 7.